Quarters plus venues for Students in Architecture Biennale. Of December 2012 was the day when the first edition of the Biennale, which was inaugurated by the Honorable Chief Minister of Kerala, Pinarayi Vijayan, and was curated by Boss Krishnamachari and Riaz Kamu, where Boss Krishnamachari is the co-founder and the director of the Kochi Biennale Foundation. As an exclusive belt of art and cultural events, the Biennale has an adaptive reuse over the heritage buildings in and around Fort Kochi. The Aspen Wall, David Hall, Pepper House, and the Darbar Hall are the most widely and commonly used venues for the Kochi Museum's Biennale for the past 3 editions. The Biennale Foundation faces problems while hosting a major ceremony like the Kochi Museum's Biennale in such a particular context, which mainly includes the rent for using the buildings, maintenance and infrastructure, fundraising. So there is a need for Biennale Foundation to get self-sustaining, which makes my hypothetical thesis much more lively. There are 2 literature case studies and live case studies which I have selected for this thesis, and the literature case studies include the Bombay Art Society in Mumbai and the Bharat Bhavan Bhopal. Inside the Bhopal Bharat Bhavan, and also the buildings inside the site is totally pedestrian. The circulation that is incorporated inside the design is totally pedestrian. 2 live case studies are the Kerala Arts and Craft Village at Eringal, Vadagara, and the Art HO Artist Retreat at Maihar, Madhya Pradesh. Talking about the Kerala Arts and Craft Village Eringal, it is a quarry revitalization project, and it sets a good example of how the design has been incorporated in such a context. Inferences: the inclusion of the courtyard spaces in such an artistic exposure is very important while designing a craft village or an art center or a gallery, because it gives a mode of a flexible movement and a flexible usage of the space, since it could be used as a sculpture courtyard or any exhibition spaces or installation spaces, anything. So the uses of the courtyards are very well defined in this live case study. The Art Ichol at Maihar is an artist retreat. The Art Ichol consists of 2 building types, that is the Art Ichol, which is the art gallery and the artist retreat, and the Sundarsan House, which is a heritage residency home, and also a ceramics and a workshop area. The inferences that I gain from this live case study Art Ichol Maihar is how the courtyards are used around the spaces, around the solid spaces, and how the segregation of the spaces with respect to the hierarchy which should be provided, the public, the semi-public and the private, are incorporated in the design. And from the comparative analysis of my literature and live case studies, it is very good to design with respect to the circulation, the hierarchy of the spaces, and also in response to the context of the site, making the project and also the design much more easily accessible is what needed while designing such a space or such a discipline art spaces. And the much more idea that struck in my mind is to use the courtyards and also to incorporate the courtyard spaces within the solid spaces which are surrounding the courtyards, and which makes the design much more flexible. The site selected for the project is at Wellington Island near Fort Kochi, and specifically the site is situated on the southeastern or the bottommost point of the Wellington Island. The site area is about 54.7 acres of land, barren land, which is only covered by vegetation on its peripheries, and there is no any presence of vegetation on the mid part of the land. It is mandatory to follow the CRZ 3A regulations to leave NDZ no development zones of 50 meters from the high tide line. The spaces which are included in the design brief for the administration which includes the headquarters and office spaces of the curators, the director's room, and also accommodating the rest of the staff and the non-staff which work with the Binale Foundations. The second spatial requirements that is being incorporated is the visitor spaces, which include the students' Binale galleries, the architecture Binale galleries, and also architecture Binale pavilions, and also a common pavilion. And the site area requirements is that the maximum coverage possible in the areas is 40% of the site, that is 88,545.21 square meters is the maximum possible coverage inside the site. And the maximum FAR is 1.5 without fee and 2.5 with additional fee. With respect to the design brief created, the maximum building area that has been designed in this project is only 15,502.47 and of an FAR of 0.07. The concept was to make the design responding to the site context and the build form, and also to maintain a movement and arrangement pattern inside the design. The subdue forms and structures plus rustic feel of wharfs retains the morphology of the site context. So the build form is being built by the building materials like cotton, steel, and everything to finish it with a rusty feel, which makes the design much more relatable to the shipyards and also the wharfs. Most of the public and the most usable and most used areas are moved into the northeastern side of the site, and a linear development of buildings are being seen on the northeastern side of the site, which makes the design to follow the linear movement which is being seen or visible in the other venues of the Binale in Fort Kochi, moving from one gallery to another. And this is the site plan showing how the hierarchy of spaces has been well defined. The semi-public spaces, which includes the artist galleries, the architecture pavilions, architecture galleries, and student Binale galleries, are moved to the northeastern side of the site, which is backwater facing, and also a linear pattern in placing the buildings are being clearly visible in the site plan. The public areas like the food courts and also the secondary entry into the site and also to the boat jetty are moved to the southwestern side, segregating from the other private and the public spaces. This is the total site plan. And moving into the individual design blocks, the first design block which is being visible is the headquarters block. The headquarters has a building area of 2,181 square meters, and the building includes spaces for the curators, both the Binale and also individual art and design curators, the studio spaces, the visual art and ceramic studios, and also the room for the director of the Binale Foundation. Hierarchy of the spaces is well defined by laying down the public spaces into the lowest level, the ground levels, which includes the reception areas and also lobby spaces, the libraries and material collection libraries of the Binale Foundation. And to the first floor is a semi-public area which only entertains the public to a certain limit, and the curator's rooms and the design curator and the director's room of the Binale Foundation is being shifted to the first floor, the semi-public areas. And to the second floor is the private areas, which only lets the artist working with the Binale to go into the spaces and also the officials to use the spaces. It includes the visual art studio, conference rooms, and also the spaces related to this Binale artist and artist residence. The orientation of the headquarters building is like it is entirely shifted to the northeastern side of the site, which makes it an iconic building, giving a view from the Alexander Parambatra bridge, which is just facing opposite the buildings. Materials which are being used in the building are concrete walls, exposed concrete walls, and also the usage of cotton steel screens are being very visible in this design. Students' Binale Gallery is a multi-purpose artistic space which could be used both for exhibition spaces for Binale and also as working spaces for the artist and the residency artist who work for the Binale Foundation. The gallery consists of canvas exhibits and indoor installations, sculpture exhibits, and also for meetings and talk series and also cafeteria spaces. With a total area of 320 square meters, the two blocks covers an area of 640 square meters. The indoor installation area is of total 49 square meters, which provides spaces for 7 artists getting 7 square meter each for exhibiting their work. The canvas art gallery is of total 84 square meters, which provides space for 12 artists, providing them 7 square meters of each exhibition spaces to exhibit their work. It purely and totally entertains pedestrian pathways with no vehicular movement inside and around the gallery spaces and the architecture pavilion spaces. The Students' Binale Gallery 3 really consists of spaces including the canvas art galleries and also the indoor sculpture and indoor installation galleries. The total area of the Students' Binale Gallery 3 is 900 m square. The central part of the building is clearly defined as a semi-open space which has an active HVAC ventilations and also enough lighting, enough ambient light to light the installations inside the building. The semi-open area in the gallery serves as an installation area and faces the courtyards in opposite sides, and natural cross ventilation and ambient light, natural light is well utilized. The next venue is the Architecture Binale Gallery, which is a two-winged structure consisting of material collection and exhibitions, model exhibitions, architecture photo galleries, and canvas art galleries and presentations hall in the ground floor. And moving on to the first floor, it consists of sheet presentations of urban design projects and also model presentations and exhibitions of the urban design project, concrete and the cotton steel, which has been extensively used in all the buildings designed. It really reduces the usage of paint and also other polishes and finishes which are applied on walls. The Architecture Binale Pavilion is the last and the final heavily constructed building inside the complex and inside the site, and it consists of mainly two spaces: the exhibition spaces and the installation spaces, which is used by the artist and or the architects, and also the second space is the presentation auditorium spaces, which is used for displaying any movies or transferred to the common and the public people. The Architecture Binale is welcomed in Kochi as a platform to exhibit and discuss on the various architecture practices and also varying philosophies of architects and designers. So the participants who are actually participating in this Architecture Binale are about to exhibit different architectural styles from different countries, the different typologies which are being followed by the different architects in various parts of the world, and to exhibit here and also have an exchange of ideas within themselves. The Binale Pavilion mainly consists of exhibition spaces, art illustration areas, and also sculpture courtyards, and also auditorium complex for the presentations, meetings, and talk series. Again, the building is totally treated with exposed concrete and cotton steel screens, perforated screens, which allow the buildings give a rustic feel and also related to the site context, as we have discussed in the concept sheets, relating it to the wharves and the shipyards in and around the Wellington Island and Kochi. The concept pavilion is situated in the end of the venue belt inside the site, and the pavilion focuses on expressing the simplicity of an architecture practice. It consists of spaces for art and architecture exhibition. It is a clear style of architecture is seen in the building form and materials. The building has been made with simple construction techniques, including the steel frames and fabric clothes. The massing of the build form follows a grid pattern of each grid of size 4 meter by 4 meter. The installations covers an area of 625 square meters in total. The special topic is on the usage of cotton steel as a building material. The cotton steel is also known as weathering steel, is a unique finish that is highly sought after for its distinct appearance and naturally oxidizing coating. So the appearance of the weathering steel is a generic term and also provides a rustic feel, which is a resultant of the process known as patina, the formation of a cotton steel coating through the natural process. So it is something kind of a natural process that happens within an artificial building material. The right weather elements for cotton steel suggest that the cotton steels must be avoided from the coastal areas, but there are certain exceptions and possibilities of construction of cotton steels nearer to the coastal environment. The installations of the cotton steel can be done on land minimum 20 meter from the water body, and also ensuring that the facade gets plenty of sunlight so the oxidization forming could be ensured quickly and rapidly. The properties near the ocean are surrounded by high amount of salt particles. When salt spray is continuously deposited on cotton, it prevents development of inner protective oxide layer from forming. So that is the only exceptions and possibilities of construction of cotton steel nearer to the coastal environments. And moving on to the usage of cotton steel in building facades. In the design, the building facade is extensively treated with cotton steel panels, which reduces the usage of other paint and also other finishes and plastic materials for treating the facades. And also a kind of uniformity in the building materials is maintained by only selecting the two materials for the building construction, the exposed concrete and the cotton steel screen frames with perforated screens. And also, as a possible way of using cotton steel, the material near the coastal areas, the building is away from the water body. The building also gets enough sunlight for oxidation. And also in the design, the steel panels or the cotton steel panels are placed approximately and 50 centimeters away from the walls, which lets in air and also ambient heat and sunlight to let into this in between spaces, which also naturally boost the oxidation process. And the screen, the cotton steel screen which is used are perforated panels and lets heat through it. The screen in front of the glazed surfaces have bigger perforations to let light in. So the perforations allow the light to hit the body, hit the concrete, and the light is being reflected back to the cotton steel, which boosts its natural oxidation process by making it much more hot and allowing much more ambient sunlight into that areas.